We're going to get started again. Welcome back, everyone, after our short break. Thanks again to Marcel and Isabel and to Vicky. We're now ready for our third presenter, who's Georgina Trevino. Georgina is a contemporary artist and jeweler from Tijuana, Mexico, who's based in San Diego, California. In 2004, she earned a BA in applied design with an emphasis in jewelry and metalsmithing from San Diego State University. Her work has been part of several national and international exhibitions, including the Racine Art Museum and Schmuck 2015 in Munich. In 2020, Trevino's brooch, Fuck the Police, was acquired by the Museum of Arts and Design in New York City as part of their permanent collection. I like that I had to say that curse word kind of twice. Trevino's practice has been featured in publications such as the LA Times, Elle, Vogue, Allure, Marie Claire, The Fader, Paper, and Playboy magazine. She's worked directly with celebrities like Beyonce, Lady Gaga, 2 Chainz, Bella Hadid, Lizzo, and Doja Cat, as well as brands like Nike, Elf Cosmetics, and Fenty, just to name a few. We're so happy to have Georgina here with Georgina. Sorry, I keep messing up your name. I usually don't. With us today. She's actually joining us from Paris, where she's at Fashion Week. So, without further ado, let's go.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone see me? It's because I can't see myself, so it's kind of.
We can see you, and you look fabulous.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation, BJC, and everyone that tuned in to the talk, and great prior talks before me. Yeah, I'm here in Paris. I'll tell you a little more about it, why I'm here. Yeah, I wanted to share. I'll be sharing a lot of content. I'm gonna narrow it down to this what I've been working on starting from the beginning of the year, sort of. I've been really interested in big scale work since the beginning of the year, and I had an invitation to a exhibition in Mexico City called Salon Cosa, which is an object. It's an object exhibition. Cosa means object, so they invite about 20 artists to make a piece of an object. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're an artist per se, like a sculptor. They invite different people from different mediums, like fashion people, painters. Even if you've never done an actual kind of artwork, they push you to make a piece for this show. So for me, it was very interesting because I've been thinking a lot about big scale work, and it was a great opportunity to make that jump. I never really have done furniture before, even though I've been really interested, and I just hadn't had the opportunity to do it. And just been thinking a lot of how jewelry can exist in other spaces or bigger scale, but always having the jewelry language in it. So this is a bench. I'll show you after the slide, but I decided to make a nameplate bench with the word "Siéntese, señora," which translates specifically to "sit down, ma'am." It's kind of like a trendy. It's more like a joke. It has a double meaning. I'm very intense work. If people who know me, I'm very ADD of making work. I have so many projects at the same time, and it's a saying in Mexico to say chill out, sit down, lady, but in a way for me it was the opposite, chill out, Gina, but not really. And so it was more like a satirical word that I wanted to use. So I did some sketching, and I did a brooch for it, and the actual bench is
Georgina?
this one. Yes.
Sorry, we aren't seeing your slides.
Oh, you're not? Okay. 1 second.
We are seeing the great jewelry you're wearing, though.
Okay, that's interesting. Our view. Can you guys see? 1 second. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay.
We can see your screen now.
Thank you. Okay, so no one has seen anything yet, right? Okay. I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay.
So anyway, so siéntese, señora, which means sit down, ma'am. So just a funny saying that became trendy like a couple of years ago. So like I said, it's a commentary on chill out, and do I need to do it? Sorry again.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I think if you
I put it wide, right? Okay.
Yeah, if you can increase the views,
Enter
just
full
go
screen.
down with the
Okay, okay.
slideshow.
There I am. Okay.
There we
So
go.
anyway, so this is kind of like my sketch of the actual bench that I did. And I just wanted to do, you know, like a big scale on the take of the nameplate, but using the satirical word. And also, I just didn't want it to be just the name of it, but also like really, I'm relating it to myself because it's very intense. So it's like, Gina, sit down, but also like invite the people to come and sit down, you know, so it's like, sit down, lady, you know, so that was kind of like the take on it. And the actual original piece, this piece supposed to be chrome, but last minute, you know, there's always things that happen and I have to like make decisions really quickly. And 2 days before the actual show opened, I had to make decisions that the chrome place didn't make it in time. This is the first time that I also outsourced something big like this. So for me, it was definitely like a learning experience. And so I decided to paint it pink and kind of more of like the car pink. So it kind of has some glitter in it. And just, I don't know, I even almost like it better than the chrome, even though I'm actually working on the original one right now with different kind of text. And it was just, I didn't know that the actual show was supposed to be, they took over this old cantina in Mexico City. And this happened during Art Week Mexico. And I didn't know the blue was going to be part of the show. So I felt like even the decision of making it pink last minute worked really well with the space. So that was the first, furniture that I done. And I definitely want to keep, working with this idea of text and how can I communicate, with text in the bench and with the nameplate idea. In my head, I imagine like this big garden with like benches that are communicating and telling a story in between. So that's something that is in my head, and I'm trying to make it happen soon, hopefully. And I've been really inspired like this whole year in like the typography in Mexico and rótulos, which is like the actual text that we see in the stands of like taco stands, fruit stands, and places in Mexico, like just stands through the city. And this past year, the local government decided in Mexico City, they decided to shut down, like to wipe out all this typography and beautiful like imagery that we see in the streets. And I'm not saying like all Mexico, this only happened in Cuauhtemoc district, which is like the downtown of Mexico City. And it's, if you guys ever been to Mexico, it's like Roma and Condesa area. So like all these places, they decided to paint white, wiped out all this beautiful like Mexican, like beautiful imagery. And it was just like so devastating and sad that, it's like Mexican patrimony to see it wiped out. And like, for me, this is like a lot of my inspiration comes from this. I think it's so beautiful. And there's a certain like tackiness to it and like funny, and like the way that people use this imagery to put it in things. I think is like very satirical as well. And I found it really interesting. And I've been trying to use it in my work. And these are some of like the examples that you will see in the street. And I love the imagery, how like sometimes they're like just, some are funny or like really bad drawn. And I think they're just so beautiful. So I decided, I got a winter fellowship in Penland School of Crafts in North Carolina. And when I was there, I'm very obsessed with like purses, and I've been like, collecting like 60s and 70s metal purses. So I decided I wanted to make like a prototype of my actual metal purse. So the inspiration was all this idea of the rótulos. So I decided to do, this was like a sample, but I started hand piercing all this little imagery that was inspired by what I just talked about into this metal purse. And I still haven't finished it. It was just sort of like a prototype for me, even though it took me forever, so many hours invested in this. And the idea, it will be chromed, or maybe even mass produced. So it's still laying in my studio. I'm still trying to see what to do with it, or how to make it like produce it, so it's like more affordable. So anyway, after a couple months after that, I was reached out by the LA Times, and they do this. LA Times has a magazine in conjunction to the newspaper. It's called LA Times Image. So they focus a lot of and West Coast artists. So they invited me, well, they usually invite artists every issue to be part of the magazine, and they give you a stipend. For me, let's say they give me like $1,200 to produce a piece you want, and it only be featured, not only, but it'll be featured in the magazine, and you have a whole spread and everything. So it's a beautiful way to like help artists if you have, you know, like a project in mind. Of course, I will never think of using $1,000 to just make something random. So I really keep thinking about that metal purse that I did in Penland. And I wanted to, in my head, I was like, oh, this would be so beautiful if it was like a solid sterling silver piece, you know? So I pitched that idea, and I'm like, I know what I want to do. I just want to recreate this idea of the whole rotulos, but do it in this like more solid sterling silver piece. And of course, $1,200 wasn't even enough for the material, or like to pay everything, like the idea, my hand, and you know. So I decided to do this sterling silver purse that was based on that. It had some personal elements to it. The issue was about, they actually invited, I only had 3 weeks to make this, which was crazy. They gave me the choice of being on the April issue or the next issue. And I'm an Aries baby, so it was very important to me to be in the Aries issue, was about clarity. And my way of seeing clarity was like through my culture, and then the use of fine material, you know, like precious metal. So I hand carved all these pieces. It was a bitch. It was like so much work, but it was just very interesting and a learning experience. I try to carve as much possible to like less material. And this is some part of the process. It had to be in like 8 flats all together and then solder back together. It was definitely a learning experience. I don't know how I did it in like 3 weeks, but I made it happen. And this is the actual final piece. So the magazine, I had a photographer. But I didn't just want it to be like basic photos. So I decided, I'm like, I want to take my own photos. I don't want it to be just simple. I think this piece is so special. It needs to have an aesthetic. It needs to have a whole story. So also I'm very about collaborating. So I felt the need to invite other people to be part of my project. So I invited a local photographer, local art, like makeup artists and stuff. And of course, there wasn't enough money. I did ask for a little more money from the magazine to at least pay the photographer. So I ended up paying actually more for this project. But anyway, it was a beautiful project. They also asked me if I wanted to be part of this project, I could, like as a model. So I did, because I'm an Aries baby and I feel really good. And I'm like, okay, like I'm going to model my own purse. So this was the shoot that was in the magazine. This purse was finished on a Thursday. I took the photos on Friday, and then Monday we had to like turn the whole photos. So it was a whole crazy project because it was definitely under pressure, but I think that's something that's in my DNA. Like I love working under pressure. I think the best ideas come, or at least for me, from working under pressure. I made this whole outfit like the night before, like it's just, yeah, something about the under pressure. But anyway, these are some of the images that came out from it. So, I really wanted to capture that clarity of even the image, the purse, Sorry if I'm talking like, is there something you don't understand? I tend to like invent words or like talk too fast. So feel free to tell me. I can hear you.
I said you're using great words. Don't worry.
Okay,
We're
perfect.
following you, and it's fabulous.
Okay, perfect. Anyway, so after this, I've been also this year, like I've been doing a lot of upcycling and like just finding objects and like picking them up, playing with them and seeing how like that can exist somewhere else. Just trash into something else, like an adorning. I've been very into like adorning objects that I collect. And a lot about like, I'm very interested in like the mass production of things and like repetition, and a lot of like, let's say like this purse that I made, it was like a $5 from LA, from the alleys. I'm very interested in like the mass production of like this fake products as well. So this was like a take on it. And this is me thinking like from jewelry to more object. And I was a painter before being, I was a painting major before a jeweler. So last year I was trying to reconnect with painting. So I don't know where I'm going yet with this, but it's just me thinking more in another dimension of the jewelry and thinking how jewelry and painting could be together. So I painted this oil painting, and it has this metal continuation that comes from the canvas all the way to the floor. And it's something that I want to explore more, but it's, just wanted to show you how the or how my head is thinking now. It's like, it's the object, then could be the photo, then this could be also be a painting, it could be in clothing. And then I had an exhibition, this was sort of a show in LA. It was called Sacred Purse. So it was like a take, or like the idea of the repetitive elements of like Catholic souvenirs. So this piece actually, it was an upcycle purse, like $3 bag, and then I converted it into this, added all these religious elements into it. And I'm so happy to share that the Racine Art Museum acquired this piece for their permanent collection, along with another piece that you'll see later. And I randomly have been having this obsession over like doing purses with this repetitive thinking. And also thinking about clothes, how can I adorn the clothes, but always like super maximalist, and like the more, I'm very like more is more. This was actually for an artist that was the stylist Serena Akers, and it was for Chloe Bailey. It is never been seen before. I haven't, it never came out. It was like for a music video, but I really enjoy this piece. Even like itself could be like a sculpture in a wall. And like what I was talking about, like the object, how the object can exist in different places. So now I think my head is thinking a lot of like the object, then that object can exist in clothing. Hopefully I don't get in trouble with Nike, although I have worked with Nike before, but I'm also trying to get their attention because I definitely I would love to have an actual collaboration with them. So anyway, also like, same idea of like picking up objects from the street. This was like a tomato can that I found outside my studio, and I just turned it into a purse. I tend to carry pesos and dollars at the same time because I'm a border artist. So this was based on like the bumper stickers from the border, like in the 90s, you see all this. It's still up to today, but you used to see this in the border while making border on the windows of cars. And an actual artist from Brazil, Luisa Sonsa, wore this for MTV Awards. So it's so funny how like sometimes some of my work, I just do it so casually, and like sometimes it just ends up somewhere. So I feel like you never know where whatever work you do is gonna end up. So I think that process is also so beautiful. One second. And then the same artist that I told you that was in the MTV Awards with the purse, she commissioned this piece. She had a music video. It's her with her 3 doggies in the music video. It's supposed to be 3 dogs with her, and these dogs convert into like badass girls. So they asked me to do a purse that one of the dogs will have on, like when the dog converted into a human. So I did this pedigree bag, and it has like her name engraved, and it's functional. You can wear it. It's a pedigree food can, and now it's like a purse. And I continue to use this. This was for Penland Wear Contemporary Jewelry show that just happened about a month ago. Sardines, and then this idea of the decals of the bumper stickers. And this could be, it could be an object, or it could be their earrings as well. This was another piece that was acquired by the Racine Museum of Art. Again, same thing of like my personal objects or like found objects and turning them into functional things. And this one was from LA. This was a show in Mexico City, and it was called Diaspora Dialogues from artists from LA and like border people. So it was like my take, what I talked about, the bumper sticker idea. Like I go to Mexico all the time, so this is something that I see all the time. They sell you all these curios, like souvenir objects. So the leather is a choker, but I made it into an actual choker from a belt. I made it into a choker, and it has the elements of the bumper stickers. So it's very like Tijuana, San Diego inspiration. And I also had a show in Puerto Rico, and this was more like personal. I did a CD series. All the CDs had like references to like music that I used to hear, references to like cartoons or stuff from my time. So some of these objects are, it could be an object, could be an earring, or somewhere in the wall, there could be a wall piece. And of course, there's a nostalgic, there's a nostalgic feeling to it because, you know, I mean, I grew up with listening to music CDs, and also the idea of like, these pieces could break, you know, so it's like you wear it, but if it's an earring, like it might also break. But I think that's so beautiful and interesting that it's just up to you how much you take care of the object. These are one of my favorites. Madonna, Mariah Carey with Hello Kitty, Nas with New York. Patrick, you know, some are sort of political or like satirical or controversial, like this one on the right. Snoop Dogg and Barney. Cat Dog. So they're references to like my time, you know, Shakira. And of course, like I love doing this adornment to objects and having this like really fun, like playing with the pieces, adding and subtracting things to adorn them, you know. And also thinking about the big scale that I was talking about. I just taught a class in Penland, and the idea that was kind of like the class about like everything could be jewelry. So I've been to Penland before, and every time I'm there, I always think like, oh my God, it'd be so beautiful. For those who had never been there, there's this beautiful grass area looking over the Smoky Mountains. And I always have this feeling of like, oh, it would be so beautiful to see this big scale like necklace in it. So me and the class, it was a collaboration with the school and the class to make a nameplate with the name of the school, and people could be a bead. You can have like people being a bead, or people brought an object to form the whole necklace. That's me and my assistant, Sarah Rachel Brown. Shout out to Sarah from Perceived Value. So yes, it was just like a quick installation, and just to tell students, you know, like everything could be jewelry, and like it was just a really fun project. The school let us borrow a drone, and it was just like really beautiful, quick project. And then this is like one of my latest work, which have led to why I'm around here today, like in Europe. A couple months ago, there was, well, probably the beginning of the year, there was this magazine from Mexico City had a collaboration with this brand called Bimba y Lola from Spain. So the idea was to pair 20 artists to recreate the logo of the brand, and with the theme of souvenir. So it was artists from all kinds of mediums. So for me, it was like right off my alley, because I'm a hoarder and I love just like hoarding and collecting like found objects. So this was a purse that I had already had in mind to do. And I just thought like, oh my God, this will be perfect to do it here, you know, and I just recreated the logo. I did more like doodle engraved on like repetitive elements of the circle that you could see like on the top, and there's more also in the bottom. And just like upcycling this whole like rings as a handle, and it has like all this movement, and it was like, you know, like a $5 bag, and I converted it into this. And what was so beautiful about this project is like, I'm always thinking like how, you know, I love this brand. So for me, it was like, I really want to do a great job, although I always try to do a great job, but I wanted to impress them also, like, because I would love to do an actual collaboration with them. And it exactly happened what I wanted to do. And beautifully, they contacted me. They contacted me after the project was published, the actual brand, and they were like, hey, we would love to collaborate with you with a more ambitious project. So they were opening a bigger store in Mexico City. Most of their stores are in Europe, but they have a store in Mexico City. They just opened a couple of months ago. So they invited me to make a wall, to make a curtain that will like separate the space. They have a private showroom inside of the store in the second floor. So they wanted me to intervene the store, do this whole curtain, which with whatever medium I wanted. The only theme was like, I had to do something with Lucky Charms, and it could be any medium, however I wanted, 10 meter long. I never done anything this big. I had no idea what I was doing, to be honest, but I was just like, fuck it, let's go for it, you know? So I was really excited about this project and I said yes, even though I had no idea what I was doing, but it became like such a beautiful project and a learning experience. So I started with hand drawing 26 charms. And my idea was to create this 10-meter curtain that will have big scale charms all over. And I had trouble like trying to see how can I be part of the curtain? Like I was having like blockage, you know, and I never really worked with airbrush before, but I always been so attracted. So I went to the store and bought an airbrush gun, and I just picked up a canvas and I just started doodling in the canvas, like the 26 charms that I had designed. And then I had an artist, Richie Moon, vector all my hand drawings because I'm really bad at computer. So I only hand drew and then they vector them. And I used decals to put on top of the painting, and I airbrush. And this was kind of like the base idea of what I wanted to translate it into the curtain. So then after that, I invited this other artist, Mario Rojas, which he was like, he made some of the visuals for Bad Bunny latest work. So he helped me translate my airbrush into like more colorful idea, like more 3D vibe. So we ended up doing, I'll go back to that one. We ended up doing, this is the final piece. So as you see, like my airbrush is in it. So he converted the whole painting that I did into these two colors. So I just kind of guided him what I wanted. And all these pieces were laser cut. These are all the 26 repetitive pieces that I created, you know, elements into the curtain. And there's a lot of, it's lucky charm ideas, but also I put a lot of like personal charms that I used before in my work, and a lot of like Mexican, like this is I took those two words from this. So this is like, there's this funny like botanical places that have like perfumes to make someone fell in love with you, like very cheesy, and like usually their packaging are very funny. So like this one's like triple suerte rápida, you know, which means like triple like luck, or arrasa con todo is like conquer the world kind of thing. So for me, those two words were really powerful and funny. So I decided to make him into like a plate, you know. So these are like, you know, they're big. And then it's a 10-meter curtain. And then after that, they didn't just want to leave it at the curtain. They were like, we want more from Georgina, we want more from just the curtain, like more of collaboration. So we had our meeting in person, and this brand, they do a lot of, they sell a lot of purses. So because we started our relationship as a purse, I told them, why don't we do a purse workshop in the store, and then girls can come, or whoever, you know, everyone can come and like do a purse related, and we can relate it to this project. So kind of like produce some of the same idea charms, and people can personalize their purses. So after that, after this project in Mexico City, they invited me to globalize the project, and now they want to take me to different stores within Europe to do different installations in their stores, and also host like workshops that I can like, you know, girls and boys can come in and interact and personalize their purses. So I installed this last week. They invited me to Barcelona. So they opened their store in August, so they hadn't had an inauguration yet. So the idea was like, I'll do a whole like takeover of the store, collaboration. We celebrate our collaboration, and then the opening. So I flew to Barcelona last week to make this project, and it was very crazy, beautiful project. Learned so much, and I'm super proud of it. So I did some graffiti in the wall. As you can see, there's the purse that I talked about earlier in there. And then I also did a big scale necklace that's hanging in front of the store, traveling all the way to the back of the store. And they already had this big purse in the store. I just kind of intervened it with the idea of what people, if they come to the workshop, that's kind of what the actual bag will be. So it was like a beautiful turnout. The space is beautiful. I also recreated these two big scale pendants and placed them in the back of the store. And again, I never done anything like this. So this was like just a learning experience. And I'm super excited to like make bigger work like this. And I'm happy that it allowed me to, you know, think bigger, of course, because there's money, you know, I can make bigger stuff. This was kind of like the workshop, and it was only an hour workshop. And the funny thing was like, the PR team invited like bloggers and like artists. And I'm not talking shit about bloggers or anything, but we all know they're always in their phones, like, you know. And the most beautiful thing about the workshop was like, everyone was super into the making. Like the PR team was like super happy that everybody was like making. So this is really good for the brand as well. And I don't think any brand has done that. So it's something that they're really like excited about. The intention, of course, is to actually make product with them. So that's in the works. That was kind of like the event. And also, besides my personal work, my collections, I also work with a lot of artists. This year, I've been doing a lot of like custom work for artists. These are just some of the artists that have worn my stuff that or commission work. I'm not sure how my time is going. I don't know if I still have
You're
time.
a little over, so if you
Okay,
could
no
just wrap
worries.
it up.
I'm just gonna wrap it up. One of the last one was Beyonce. She commissioned like 3 pairs of earrings and a necklace that hasn't really come out. So this is one of the images that we see that the video hasn't come out, but it was a preview. And then I did Kourtney Kardashian. She just launched a vitamin brand, and they just asked me to do a necklace with the vitamins. Some of the pictures the actual pictures haven't come out yet, but this is like her wearing them. So just wanted to show you that, you know, like the different types of work that I've been doing. This is Camila Cabello, also using like jewelry on the clothing. And actually that's it.
Thank you, Georgina. That was amazing. So many wonderful comments, just like people being so excited to see this work. And just like almost like tickled throughout it, which is really fun. I have 2 questions that are actually related that came from the chat. The first one was, you use so many found objects, Georgina. How and where do you acquire them? And that came from Claire Webb.
I try to go every Sunday or Saturday to like markets, like flea markets, and I just collect. I do a lot of thrifting. So basically, and from traveling, you know, I try to like pick different things from different places.
Awesome. So you actually kind of have a practice of going out to find them. That's
exciting. Oh yes, I'm like the queen of hoarding objects.
Yeah. And then Johanna had a question that really links to that. First, she made the comment to ground her question. I can see a sentimentality to your work and your use of found objects and calling attention to old signage and to images from your time. Are you elevating these elements through your work? Is it a type of paying homage to your past or the past in general?
I think I do. Like, I mean, some of the found objects that I use are like, sometimes I find them, you know, like from cultural references or places that I go. You know, I go a lot to like Mexico flea market, so like some objects are like those type of elements that I use. Or like I go to LA and the alleys, and it's like all these like, you know, places are Latino owned, and like I just acquire all these objects. I'm not sure if I answered the question, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think it did, and also I think you said this, that like you do have a strong feeling towards the things that bring maybe a feeling of nostalgia for you. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, and nostalgia, and also like things that are like that are taken for granted. Like I like to take things that maybe are tacky or like that people think like, oh, this is whatever, but how can I elevate that? Like last time I was in New York, I went downstairs to like the souvenir store, and I grabbed 2 keychains, and then I made it into earrings in my hotel room. And like a week after, some artist, Halsey, she asked to wear them. And then, you know, so it's so funny how like things, like how some of the pieces might end up, like you never know. So for me, it's like so beautiful that even like a piece of wrapping paper could be an earring, you know. So I'm really interested in that, how everything could be converted into jewelry if you want. And I'm also trying to break that in the actual fashion world, like using more of other elements than just precious metals.
Yeah, that's really powerful, and obviously something all of us who are in metals and jewelry really appreciate that you're doing. Last question for right now, but Vicky asked, are there challenges to collaborating with brands or other artists? Are there parts of your aesthetic that you have to shift away from?
I mean, I think the most when they're like big brands, I think it tends to get difficult. Like I did a collaboration with Elf, and to be honest, it was like a little difficult because they were very open to like whatever ideas I had, and at the end, we circled back to 2 designs, and I had to tell them, I'm like, you know what, I'm sorry, like you came to me because of my work. If not, you would have gone to any jeweler and done your idea, but you should have told me since the beginning. And I stand up for myself, and I was like, you know what, if you don't want my design, then we break this, because obviously they're a big brand and their idea, they're also feeding for me. They want to work with local artists, and it's like, at the end, like it's good for them, also. I mean, of course, for me, because there's money and like this big exposure, but also you have to respect the artist, like design wise. So that, I would say that's one challenge. I think you just have to stay true to yourself and your craft, and not do whatever they want you to do. You just, they're coming to you because of your work. So I'm very like proud of that. Like I pro that,
Yeah, and that's inspiring and probably encouraging for people to hear, just like in any sort of transactions or scenarios like this, just to be like, this is my voice and my vision. I want it to be respected.
And also, like, I mean, also another, not issue, but like most of these big brands, or like even celebrities, they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay. They want everything for free. And I'm open for this conversation at some point. Like I'm ready to talk about this, because there's so much, it's very intense. Like I think this art is a whole chain. It's like the stylist and the artist. And I think the artist, meaning the celebrity, feels very entitled and feels like, well, you're going to get all this exposure anyway, so you should be giving me this free stuff. And I gave in so much free stuff before. I don't give free because it's like, if we need to charge, we need to make money. Like I can't just be giving jewelry like nothing, I make it all with my hands. So it's like, if it was mass produced, then I'll be giving to this artist. But the crazy thing is, they feel entitled and they feel like, well, you're going to get this much views, but that doesn't mean that I'm making money. Like I had like, and I'm very transparent about it. Like I had big artists wear my stuff. Maybe there's no sale from it, but you have the credit of, of course, that someone big wore it. So I think it's like sometimes it's good, sometimes not.
Yeah. And also like, you know that they do have the money for it, right?
Oh yeah. I have horror stories.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I like that you said you wanted to talk about that. Maybe that's a talk that we could do in the future.
I'm here for it. I'm here to write about it.
And I think that there are ways that even for artists who are working on a much smaller scale with maybe like local organizations or local celebrities are also being kind of taken advantage of. So having anecdotes like your own and like sort of the power of your stories behind them could be really helpful. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think at a certain point it's okay to like, you want to put yourself out there. So you have to like put your work out there. Like even when I had the tutorials, if I really like the artist, I would just go out of my way and send other stuff that I make that I thought that I envisioned them wearing without me telling them. And then they end up using it, which was the most beautiful thing. So it's like me putting myself in those situations. But I feel like I'm already in a place where it's like, I need to, it's like, okay, I need to make money. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, on that note, and this will be the last question before we move on to Madison, Billy Theedy asked, are you working with an agent and an attorney?
No, I'm solo. I'm still solo on this, which is a problem because my head is like everywhere. I already have like a person that is helping me, and I'm probably gonna get some new interns soon. And it just, my life is so crazy as far as projects. So I just go like, pop, but I haven't been able to sit down and organize. Like this whole year has been like, but I definitely, of course, I need to grow, and I can't just do all myself,
Yeah, well, something to think about. I'm glad that Billy brought that up. Yeah, for sure. And people are just chiming in and saying, thank you so much for speaking about this and for being transparent. Like this is really empowering to other people. And exposure is not payment, as Mary Rachel said. Exactly right. Yeah. All right, we will, I'm sure there's going to be some more questions for you at the end, but thank you so much for your presentation. We'll
Of
move
course,
on to
thank you,
Madison
everyone. I'm
now.
really happy to be here.